Get those makeup brushes ready because today we're talking about a global beauty boom that's shaking things up. And knowing your interest in mentioned listener stated interest, example, ethical consumerism, global business trends, specific regions mentioned in their request, etc., adapt based on the user profile provided in the initial prompt. Well, let's just say this deep dive is going to be right up your alley.
Oh, it's exciting stuff.
We're talking about the rise of Muslim-founded beauty brands, not just a handful either. We're talking Middle East to Southeast Asia, the whole deal.
And it's not just about makeup, right? It's a window into how business, culture, global trends,
Yeah.
it's all colliding in this really fascinating way.
Totally. I have to admit, when I first started on this research, I was kind of bombarded with buzzwords, like
Mm,
halal beauty this and modest fashion that. But honestly, digging deeper, it's so much bigger than just labels.
100%. Halal is a starting point, but what's really interesting, at least from the sources we're looking at, is how these brands represent a much broader shift in what people want, like from companies in general.
Right, like it's reflecting something bigger about how we choose what we buy these days.
Exactly. For example, we've talked about your interest in clean beauty before, right? And that's UGE in this whole movement.
Yeah, totally. I think for a lot of people, it's like what you put on your body matters just as much as what you put in it.
Exactly. And these brands get that. They really do.
Hmm.
Natural ingredients, ethically sourced, you see that a lot. Plus, a real push for transparency in how they make their stuff. Which, by the way, that's appealing to a lot more people than just, Muslim consumers.
It's like this broader push for, what's the word, conscious consumerism, like your money is your vote, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. And the thing is, what I find so compelling is how these brands blend that with this really authentic sense of cultural identity. Like it's not just a product, it's an expression of heritage, often with ingredients and rituals that have been around like for generations.
Okay, so let's talk more examples. One that jumped out at me in the research was this brand, Shifa Dubai. They're all about the luxury game, but with a really unique twist. What's the deal there?
Oh, Shifa Dubai. They're fantastic. So the founder is actually a dermatologist, and she was really keen on like bridging this gap she saw between traditional Middle Eastern beauty and all this like new skincare tech.
Okay, I'm into it.
Right. But here's the thing. They use these incredible indigenous ingredients like frankincense and, okay, get this, camel's milk.
Camels, hold on, camel's milk. Okay, now you have to tell me more. What is so special about camel's milk?
So this is where the whole history thing comes in. For centuries in the Middle East, camel's milk has been this like prized ingredient. Super moisturizing, anti-aging, the works. It's packed with like vitamins and antioxidants. And Shiva Dubai's basically taken that and created this whole luxurious, science-backed skincare line.
So they're taking something ancient and making it like cutting edge.
Right, that blend of old and new, you see that a lot with these brands. Speaking of new, over in Indonesia, there's Isquai. They're tapping into this whole other thing, vegan beauty, but like make it halal.
Okay, so how big of a market are we talking here? Is that like niche within a niche or is that a real thing?
Oh, it's growing like crazy. Ace Cow is a perfect example. So in Indonesia, halal cosmetics, already massive, right? But then you've got this whole wave of especially younger people who are really into animal welfare, veganism, all that. And Isquai was like, boom, first brand in Indonesia to be both vegan and halal certified.
Smart move. They saw that gap in the market. They went for it. Okay, so we've got luxury, we've got innovation. What other trends are these brands like leading the charge on?
Going back to basics, going natural. Check out Con Natural. They're over in Pakistan,
Mm.
and they are all about organic beauty. It wasn't easy, though. It's not like everyone was clamoring for organic skincare right away.
Yeah, there's definitely still that perception that natural equals less effective.
Totally. But Con Natural stuck to their guns,
Yeah.
emphasizing the quality of their ingredients, sandalwood, turmeric, rose water, all organic, all locally sourced in Pakistan. And they convince people like, hey, natural can be just as good.
I love that. It's like they're redefining what it means to have like that glowy, healthy skin. Okay, this is making me think what other awesome brands are out there that we haven't even heard of, right?
Right. Every region has its own thing going on. It's really cool. Like, ever heard of Jafran Skincare? They're doing amazing things in Bangladesh.
Jafran rings a bell, but I can't place it.
Okay, so they're all about reviving these like old school Bangladeshi beauty rituals. They use ingredients like saffron, which has been used for like centuries to brighten the skin and neem, which is supposed to be super purifying.
Okay.
And they even use something called a Kanza wand.
Kansa wand.
Yeah, it's this massage tool made of like a specific kind of bronze. It's supposed to help with circulation and stuff. Anyway, It's a whole thing.
I've actually heard of those.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was connected to Bangladeshi beauty traditions, though. It's so cool how these brands are, like, educating people about this stuff, not just selling them something.
100%.
Yeah.
It goes back to that desire for, like, connection, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're tapping into something deeper than just a product.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of connection, let's jump over to Turkey for a sec, where they have this brand, Yup Sabri Tuncer. They've been around for, like, forever.
Oh, yeah, they're the Rosewater people, right?
Ding, ding, day. I mean, we're talking over a century old, practically a household name in Turkey. And their rosewater, it all comes from the specific region, Isparta, known for having, like, the best roses.
It's amazing how one ingredient can become so iconic for a brand. Like, it's more than just Rosewater. At that point, it's like their whole identity, you know? Okay, last stop on our whirlwind beauty tour. Got to talk about Diusek Cosmetics over in Malaysia.
Oh, Diusek is interesting. Okay, so the founder, she's this super successful entrepreneur, and she wanted to create a brand specifically for, like, modern Muslim women, but with a really different vibe.
Different how?
Like bold lip colors, very fashion-forward, luxe packaging, even collabs with international designers. It's a whole thing.
So it's like challenging those assumptions about what a Muslim brand is supposed to look like.
Exactly. Breaking the mold, redefining things. You know, it's totally possible to be stylish and true to your values. That's their whole thing.
Love it. And I think looking back on all these brands, right, whether it's Shifa Dubai with their camel's milk or Diusek with their designer collabs, one thing's for sure, there's no one-size-fits-all in this market.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
If anything, it's about celebrating how different everyone is. It just goes to show, like, Muslim consumers, they're not this, like, monolith. They've got diverse needs, different wants, just like any other group of shoppers.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to do things our way.
Right. And the best part, the rest of the industry is paying attention. This isn't just some, like, passing trend. This is like a real shift in how the whole beauty world works. And I got to say, one of the most inspiring things, so many of these brands we've talked about, they're driven by women entrepreneurs, you know.
Totally. I feel like we keep coming back to that. Dermatologists, designers, businesswomen. I mean, talk about breaking barriers.
Right. It's incredible. And they're not just building companies. They're building, like, legacies.
Yeah.
These empires that reflect their values, you know. It really shows, like, hey, Muslim women, forces to be reckoned with.
Seriously, and it just, like, hits you, you know? This goes way beyond just, like, lipstick and face cream. This is about representation, about changing the story.
100%. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier about storytelling, right? These brands, they know how to weave a narrative, you know? It's about heritage. It's about family. It's about women doing their thing. And that, I think, that's what really connects with people. Not just the product, but the whole story behind it.
It's like they're creating a community, not just customers.
Yes. And that's huge, especially these days when it feels like everyone's searching for that, like, authentic connection. And that actually brings us back to something you mentioned at the very beginning about your interest in listeners' stated interest. Again, etchy, ethical consumerism, global business trends, specific regions mentioned in the request, etc. Adapt based on the user profile provided in the initial prompt.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
These brands, they're proof that you don't have to choose between your values and, you know, success. They're out there proving it every day.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a powerful message for everyone, not just, you know, one group of shoppers.
This whole deep dive, honestly, it's been eye-opening. We started with a few brands, and now we're talking about, like, global shifts in how we think about beauty. What's your biggest takeaway from all this?
You know, for me, it's the potential.
Yeah.
Like, all these brands, this is just the beginning. As more and more people, you know, vote with their wallets, want products that reflect what they believe in, I think we're just going to see more and more cool stuff coming out of this movement.
It's like a whole new era of beauty, you know? It makes you wonder what stories these brands will be telling in, like, 5-10 years from now.
That's the exciting part, right? We get to watch it all unfold.
And for our listeners who, you know, want to be part of that journey, we've got links to all the brands we talked about down in the show notes. Go check them out, see what they're all about. Who knows, maybe you'll discover your new favorite beauty must-have.
Totally.
This has been awesome. Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.